Went to the gym, right? I just answered some questions that a lot of people on let me wipe my screen, hold on. Oh my gosh, that looks so much better. See, there's a tip right there. Make sure you always wipe your camera lens. You should not be recording content if you do not wipe your camera lens. You want your content to be clear and concise. You want people to feel something from your content. So you should definitely make sure your camera lens is always clean, and also make sure you're always shooting in 4K 60. So when you open up your camera roll thing, you know how it says like cinematic video, you go to video, but in the top right hand corner it'll usually say HD. Make sure you're shooting all of your content in 4K 60, okay? And that is a nice little tip, because like I just said, I went to the gym, I'm feeling good, I'm drinking my coffee. One thing I want y'all to understand about healing, growing, ascending, becoming better, trying to fall in love with your life and love the life that you live, right? You need to understand the law of detachment, okay? So one thing that really held me back in the beginning when I was first getting started on content, because, right, I started a business and I realized the best way for me to market my business, and when I started my business, I think it was 2019. Really, that's a whole long story. But the first reputable, I would say, the first business that I'm actually proud of, I've always been an entrepreneur. Let's just start there. I've always sold things. But my first, I would say, legitimate business that made me want to keep going was, I would say, 2019. 2019, I started Mimi's Candyland. I was a waitress, but as you know, 2020, all the restaurants shut down, right? All the restaurants had shut down, so I had to take my skill set, which was being a very outgoing person, always making small talk, being able to communicate with different, diverse people and stuff like that. I had to take that skill set and use it to my advantage because I was no longer able to work, right? So what I did was I took that and I pulled what I could from it to do sales. So basically, you find a need-based business. So at the time, I was living in North Philadelphia, right? And a lot of people around there, I'm sorry to say, but they were like people that would wake up and be drinking like on the block and stuff. So I started a business that was called Mimi's Candyland. That's when I was selling like delicious candy libations. Was I supposed to be doing that? Probably not. Probably not. But it only fueled me to want to start my business the right way. So along with me having the motivation to actually get started, because that is another thing y'all need to understand. And I'm coming back to the law of detachment. I haven't lost my place, but you have to want it, because everybody wants time freedom. Everybody wants location freedom. Everybody wants to be able to make money online and make money digitally and do all of those things. But are you willing to sacrifice, execute, and like literally put yourself through a horrid amount of pain? But that's why I always say it's always important to love what you do, because the more you love what you do, the less it will feel like work. Like when I wake up every day to make these videos and to post my content and to do my mentorships and teach women about business and teach women about mindset, I literally could do this all day long. It does not make me tired. Now, of course, everybody has a burnout. Everybody is going to get to their burnout whether they love to do what they want to do or not. If you're a dancer, you can't dance all day without, water and taking a break, resting. So it's the same thing. But you want to be so in love with your craft that in the middle of the night, things come to me and I'll pop my phone out and put it in my notes. Like, all right, I'm going to take that. I'm going to use that. When you're in your creative flow state, okay? So back to what I was saying though. So when I first started, I was doing that, and then I transitioned over eventually to selling clothes. So I knew I needed to know more about business. I didn't have a lot of money. I had a lot of time, but I had to also, maintain working, because at this point I had gotten another job. I was still doing my other things on the side. This was after the pandemic. During the pandemic, let's just say I was hustling, baby. I was selling clothing, I was selling hair, I was selling anything beauty, right? Because that's when everybody really kind of started to learn more about business. So what did I do? I looked at the other entrepreneurs that were that had been doing this for some time. I looked at people that I actually looked up to: Myron Golden, Cody Sanchez. Those are two of my absolute favorite. More recently, Afnan Khalifa. Oh my gosh, if you don't know who Afnan Khalifa is, you need to get on Afnan Khalifa's YouTube. She is so luxury, all digital marketing, literally lives in Dubai, drives her dream car, and she talks about mindset. So when I was starting out creating content, I knew that I needed to create content. And this is why I said to you what I said about the law of detachment. I had to detach from the outcome. That was like the hardest thing for me to do, because what was I doing? The moment I would post a reel, right? Or the moment I would get on my camera and start talking, the first thing I would do is check to see who liked it. Check to see who didn't like it. Check to see how many people saw it. Check to see how much engagement it had. And I needed to learn how to detach from those results. I had to detach from the outcome. That was like the hardest thing for me to do, because what was I doing? The moment I would post a reel, right? Or the moment I would get on my camera and start talking, the first thing I would do is check to see who liked it. Check to see who didn't like it. Check to see how many people saw it. Check to see how much engagement it had. And I needed to learn how to detach from those results, because if it was so easy and it was, everybody could have abundance. Everybody can have abundance. Let me pause there. But if it was so easy, everybody would be doing it and everybody would be successful. But one thing that I've learned in all of my years of research, this is since 2019. It is 2025 now. I've done some amazing things, right? And the one thing that remains the same from each walk, each person, each entrepreneur, whether they're just starting out or whether they're further along, they all say that it was consistency and mindset that did and their faith and God, of course. You never can forget about God. But it was those things that got them closer and closer to their goal. So the reason why the law of detachment is so important is because you have to detach from the outcome. You have to kind of like detach from yourself and learn from yourself, if that makes any sense. Like I had to detach. Like I am an emotional person, okay? I am a very emotional person, right? So I knew that when I seen my family and friends not liking my post, or when I seen this person that I thought would be more supportive and they weren't, etc., I knew that it was so important for me to detach from that outcome, because then I would go into a never-ending spiral of me literally beating myself up on account of somebody else's behavior that I can't even control. They might love my content and never say a word. They might be secretly watching me, praying for me, hoping that I win, hoping that I excel. But unless I detach from their emotions and what they got going on, I am not going to be able to be as consistent and show up as lively as, I need to in order to captivate my tribe, my real tribe. So the law of detachment is really, really important, especially in your building stages, because I feel like the sooner the better, because that was literally most of my battle in the beginning, detaching from the outcome. And then the other thing that really, really, really I had to, what goes back into the law of detachment, once I finally did go viral, right? I finally went viral. It took me a few months or whatever. Finally went viral. I think that reel got like, I don't know, I want to say like 50K likes and views. Y'all can still see it on my Instagram if you go to Mimi the Good Influence. I have it pinned. I went viral a few times. I have like all my viral reels pinned, right? Now I have to detach from not always going viral, right? So it was like I went viral. So then now every reel I post, I'm expecting that I'm going to go viral. But I'm not always going to go viral, because first of all, if you are doing your content the right way, you're not always going to go viral. Because if you're always going viral, that is part of your problem. And that is why you're just going viral and you're not making money off of your content. And I'm not talking about making money off of brand deals as an influencer. I'm talking about you having your own business, you showing up for your business, and you finding the people that are out there already looking for your business, but they can't find you because you're hiding, right? So you have to continue to show up, and there are different types of content that you need to be posting. So you might be posting content that entertains. You might be posting content that educates. You might be posting content that inspires. And if your content is really resonating with everybody, then you haven't chosen your target audience. You don't know who you're talking to, and that means you're talking to nobody. People might like your inspirational content, and I'm only saying these things because these are things that I actually went through. These are the different stages that I actually went through. Like, once, because after that I wanted to just keep on going viral, keep on going viral, keep on going viral. But that's why it was so important for me to stay on my grind and continue to learn. Like, if you go to, like, my husband says all the time, your algorithm is so motivational. Like, with my algorithm, you are not able to sit down, take a break, no nothing. Because soon as I sit down and scroll, it's like, are you scrolling again? Like, these are the people that I like to follow. These are the people that I like to align myself with, because I know that I'm trying to get to my highest self. And I can't get to my highest self by still wanting acceptance from people that only loved me when I was my lowest self. That doesn't even make any sense. That's not your crowd anymore, right? So that is why it's so important to detach from their opinions, because they're not even the people that you are looking for. Now, yes, you do have to take feedback. That's why you have surveys on your websites, you have surveys for personal products and stuff like that. But ultimately, you need to detach from your own emotions when it comes to your business. And as we all know, they always say women are not successful with business because they are too emotional. But that's why the law of detachment is so important to learn. Even if you don't have your business and you're still building your personal brand, I would recommend utilizing the law of detachment. And that's the other thing that we could talk about too. And I know this video is all over the place, y'all, but this is just the after coffee vent sesh that I'm going to start doing and just kicking y'all all the knowledge, anything that's swirling around in my head, right? So what the heck was I about to say? So basically, the most important thing, like everybody, one thing that women want to do is jump right into selling a product, or jump right into, doing what they see other people doing, or wanting to be an influencer. You really have to go within yourself and ask yourself, what can I really see myself doing for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and not really getting tired of it? Because understand that when you're building a business from the ground up, you're gonna have to do some reps, okay? It's gonna take time. People be thinking your business is gonna blow up overnight because you're watching people on their year 10, but it's only your day 1 seeing them. Meanwhile, they've been grinding for 10 years, right? But they had to practice the law of detachment, because if they would allow the lack of support from their family, the lack of support from their friends, the lack of likes or views or support or clients. Salespeople, sometimes they wake up and they literally have no sales. That's why they do cold calling, right? Because you have to put yourself out there. People can't find you if you're hidden, right? And you're going to continue to hide unless you start to practice the law of detachment, because you have to detach it's basically like detaching your old self from the new self while you're creating your new self. So like those things where you're like sitting outside your body, like the movies when it'll be like somebody like die, like I don't know if I can say this on YouTube or not, but somebody and they're so like they watch themselves from the sky or whatever, like they're ascending or whatever. It's the same way with yourself. So anything that's the other thing, anything that I would usually do, I wouldn't do it. Like, I would literally go look for the answer, or I would try something that I wouldn't usually do. You understand what I mean? Because I don't know if that even makes sense, but I don't think I'm saying it the way that I really wanted to come out. But you basically have to become a very different person. So you have to get yourself out of those toxic patterns. And one of the most toxic patterns is the lies that we tell ourselves. For real. Like, we lie to ourselves so much, and we allow other people's actions to affect us so much. But what they think of me literally has nothing to do with me. When I go and pay my bills, I literally don't see any of these people around wanting to help me or wanting to give me anything for my kids. So that's what really keeps me going, and understanding. And the one thing that I adapted to like way early on in my journey was I feel like it helped me. And I don't know if this is a heart posture thing or something that has to come naturally, but I've never been a hater. I've always been somebody that has been inspired by other people that are doing amazing things. So anytime, like Afnan Khalifa, I seen her on Instagram. She's doing her thing. She got a Lambo Urus. I'm like, yo, I'm trying to be like her. But I didn't look at her like, that's not real. People are like lying on social media. Like everybody's faking. If I would have started to think like that, I would stay stuck. You know, I would continue to stay stuck because I can't even believe that she really grinded it out and got that from the ground up for herself. So that's why I stopped doing everything else but mindset, self-development. And because I really think more women should focus on healing at the root and really like reprogramming their own minds and then go into business, because then you are going to be a force to be reckoned with. Your emotions are not going to cloud your judgment. You're going to know the law of detachment, so you're not going to care what anybody thinks about you. You can be your most authentic self, which puts you at your highest frequency. Because the reason why people are sad, depressed, lonely, and all, they are not the highest version of themselves. Their frequency is low, and it's because it could be due to their environment. The people that you're around are a buzzkill. You ever heard that? If the people you're around are a buzzkill and they don't believe, automatic, get them out of here, right? Get them out of here. And then your family is going to think you're delusional. Your friends are probably going to think you're a loser at first. Or like, my thing is, what are you so scared of? I'm not scared to be seen trying, because I know my trying is going to get me somewhere. And even if it doesn't, I know that I went out like a boss. I went out like a soldier. I'm never, ever, ever going to see somebody doing something that I know good and well I have the potential, the knowledge, and the execution to do, and allow them to like make me feel like I can't do it, right? Because why can't I? They're a human, I'm a human. And I think another thing that like kind of makes us like stay stuck is continuing to replay the trauma in our heads over and over again. Like everywhere I go, I keep hearing about like this and that and the oppression and this person and you're this color so you can't do this and I didn't have the same opportunities. Create the opportunities. Now is the time to create the opportunities. The internet, your people are there. Trust me. Your tribe is looking for you. Put yourself out there so you can make the best of the situation that you're in, because that's my other thing. It's like I feel like I've experienced a lot of trauma early on and I've seen a lot of stuff, so it kind of helped me in the long run, because now it's like, what is the worst that could really happen to me? I'm gonna be broke. I've already been broke before. That ain't gonna hurt me. I'm gonna be I've already not had a car. I've already been through everything that I could possibly, and of course there's people that have been through worse things, and I'm not saying it's all about what you go through. I'm saying it's about what you grow through. Because anything that I failed at or anything I've done has taught me a valuable lesson. And that goes back along with like your spirituality, your faith in God and everything like that. Like it was like once I started understanding spiritual warfare, understanding God and moving in the ways that, somebody that is God body would move. Now you can't. The only reason why I feel like I'm still failing is because I keep raising the bar. I keep raising the bar. The bar just continues and I just continue to climb. But I feel like that is a good thing, because I'm never going to get comfortable where I am. I always want to expand. I always want to like impact. Like impact is my main thing. I want people to know my story, understand my story, and understand that where you are right now, this is just the beginning, baby. This is just the beginning. All that other stuff you went through was training. It was training you to be the best version of yourself so that you can actually carry out God's purpose for your life, right? Like if your purpose, nobody can take your purpose away from you. That is your purpose. It's already written. That is your destiny. That is what you're supposed to be doing. The only thing that anybody, the devil, people, whatever, yourself can do is delay. And how do you delay? By not trying when you feel like, you want to keep on researching, you want to keep on getting information, but you're not executing. So you're holding yourself back. It turns into procrastination at that point. You're allowing people who are going to probably in 5 years be in the same spot. They was doing no reps. They was too worried about watching you do your reps, right? Why are you worried about that? Why are you worried about that? But that's what That's why it's important to have a high ass self-concept. And I'm sorry, excuse my language, but that is having main character energy really saved me. Because once I am the main character, I act like I am in a movie, no matter what. Every little thing that happens to me that wasn't in the plan is a blooper. That is something that we're gonna be laughing about in the when the documentary airs. We're gonna be like, girl, remember when that happened? Girl, remember you was on your way to that shoot and you got a flat tire and you had to, this is all for the plot, babes. And you have to romanticize your life like that, because if not, you just get into this like doom and gloom kind of frequency, and it's hard to get out of that once you're in it. And the only reason why I understand, because it's like once you get through it and you kind of leave it behind you almost forget about all of the work that you did to get there. Because then when I'm around other people and I'm talking to other people and stuff like that, sometimes their answers baffle me, and I still just really can't believe that there are people out here, especially beautiful, bold, resilient, educated, smart women who do not believe in themselves when they could be conquering the world. You literally, baby, the energy I get from people like Afnan Khalifa, you just have to watch one of her videos. Oh my gosh, instantly I am putting on my makeup. I'm going to make me a video. I am going to yap, because I know that's what I'm good at. I'm good at motivating and inspiring people. That's the other thing. Try to do something that you're naturally already gifted at. Not only do you love it, but you're also naturally already gifted. So it's going to come more naturally to you. The only place you can go is up. But learning anything new, the only place that you can go is up. Because the more you learn, the more you're going to go up. You're going to have more. And then the more experience you have, you're going to be like, all right, well, I know I did that before and I ain't going to do that again. So it just makes you smarter, better. And that's why entrepreneurs say the consistency is really and then people make fun of, and no, in no way, shape, or form am I saying that I support any political party or any of that stuff. I don't really want to get into that. My platform is for women, okay? It's for us, honey. We ain't talking about them crazy people. But I will say, they make fun of Donald Trump, but if they only knew how many failures it takes sometimes just to win, especially, well, for him, I don't know. They say his stuff was given to him. I don't know the backstory, but all I'm saying is I know a lot of entrepreneurs that have failed and failed and failed and failed and failed and failed until they didn't. Until they finally won. And it's that one video, that one contact, that one networking event, that one product that will literally change your entire life overnight. So I am willing to work every single day and take those chances before I just sit and settle for a life that I don't want. If I see other people living the life that I want, then I know that it's possible. So what is stopping me? Myself. And not detaching. That's exactly what's stopping you. You got to detach. You have to detach from the outcome. Understand you have to put it in God's hands, and it's a partnership between you and God. So the more you learn, the more you're going to be better in your expertise. You're going to be able to learn from it, grow your business, scale your business, and then you're going to be able to teach other women. So not only are you making money, but you're making impact. You learn and then you earn, You learn and then you take the L away and you earn, right? But you have to detach first. I want you to remember that. You have to detach, okay? Because you do not need anybody else's emotions, anybody else's feelings, anybody else's opinions, anybody else's values, being a part or having a seat at your table. This is my table, babe. Only thing you can do is add, and it can be an even exchange. We can reciprocate the energy, but you will in no way, shape, or form come to my table and harvest my energy with your negative opinions, because what you think about me literally has zero to do with me. It has nothing to do with me, especially because I already know I've done the self-development work, right? I've done the mindset work, right? And I know that people can only see things from where they are, right? So if you're seeing me in a negative light, you're on the wrong algorithm. You're in alignment with everything that I do not want to align with, right? Because at that point, you're projecting. Do y'all be seeing that post that be going around on Instagram? Matter of fact, that be like, yeah, the potential you see in somebody else is actually what you would do if you were in their shoes or whatever. And that is exactly what it is. Like, people are criticizing you, thinking that they can do it better. Meanwhile, they haven't started a damn thing, right? So you sometimes just have to, you ever seen that other post that be like, look at the material, like look at who's doing the talking. If you wouldn't exchange lives with them, you probably shouldn't give a damn about their opinion, honestly. Now, if Afnan Khalifa or Cody Sanchez or Myron Golden or Alex Hermosi come to me and they give me some constructive criticism, you're damn right, I'm gonna shut my trap. But when it comes to somebody who I see is just sitting on their couch, they're scrolling, they're judging me, even like the people that be in the comments, what do they be calling them? Trolls, trolling and all of that. I pay them no mind. Thank you for giving me more traction to my page. Thank you for allowing me to be discovered. Because your negativity, I'm going to alchemize it into positivity. And it's going to help me shine even more. You know why? Because I've detached from the outcome. So only thing I can do is sit in my light and be my authentic self. It's not hard because I've already detached from your opinion. I've already detached from whether you like me or not. I've already detached from whether my mom and dad are going to support my decisions or not. I've already detached from all of those things. So once you detach, I really feel like life gets a lot easier. Even when everybody talks about like going through the season of isolation and all of that. The only reason why you care is because you're not detached. I understand that anything that is for me is going to be mine, regardless. If it's a friend, if it's a man, if it's a whatever it is, a business, an opportunity, an event, like it's all already written for me. Like, I have to take action, and in order for me to take action, I need to literally have this up here clear. I need to have my mind clear. I can't have anything else in my mind but what I want in there. Knowledge, my expertise, my experiences, my ideas, my creativity, my brilliance. I don't want your opinions there. It's literally no room. None. I could give a flying F word. Like, so you literally have to move through life with that. And I'm gonna kind of end it here, y'all, because I didn't want it to be like a long, hour-long video or nothing like that. It was just like a quick coffee chat. And I just really want you to understand that you need to detach from the outcome. You need to believe in yourself, love yourself. And understand that anything worth having is not going to come easy to you. It's not going to come easy to you. It's going to take hard work, dedication, believing in yourself. It's literally, when they say be Delulu, I know it's so cute to say, but you have to really be delusional. Like, you cannot look at the 3D. You literally have to follow your heart. You have to follow your mind. But that's why it's so clear. That's why it's so important for this to be clear, your heart to be clear. Like, check your heart posture. Make sure you're moving in a genuine, high frequency, like shining a light, making people want to get near you. Like, people be focused too much on networking. What do you bring to the table? What do you bring to the table? Even when we talk about these relationships, that's something else we can get into. But people always want more, but they're not willing to do what it takes. Like, if I'm looking for a man, I'm looking for a man that's honest, front line, 6'5", blue eyes. Then what do I need to be in? Making me some money, cute, in the gym, doing things with my brain, expertise, building businesses. Because he's not going to want a woman that is just sitting there looking for a man that's honest. So you have to become, like, the only thing, and it sounds so simple to say, like, people hear it and say, oh, that's just so. No, you literally have to become a new person. You have to remember who you are. You have to love yourself immensely. You have to love yourself more than you love anything and anybody else. And I apologize. You really just do, though. You really just do. You really just do. Unconditionally, unapologetically. And you have to learn how to detach, okay? I love you so much. Make sure y'all have a wonderful, prosperous day and week, okay? Mwah.